fun-filled episode of Ask Me Anything. I'm Admiral Jeff Higdon, Chief of Communications for Starfleet, and I'm joined by four wonderful people I've known for quite a while. We have Admiral Mike Urvand. He was the one. You're still a regional coordinator, right, Mike?
Correct.
Region 6 and the CEO of the USS Imperium. Brigadier Mike Calhoun, the Starfleet Chief of Stellar Cartography, he's Assistant Compliance Officer, and CEO of the USS Darksabre here in Region 12. We also have the fantastic person in the form of Admiral Lucy Ferron Franck. She is the Vice Regional Coordinator for Region 3 and CEO of the USS Zavala, and of course a friend of ours. You know him very well, Captain Justin Fietzek, CEO of the USS Kraken over in Region 4. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Ask Me Anything. Anyway, we're awaiting your questions, and we got a lot to cover, so why don't we go around the horn, starting with Mike. Tell us what's going on in the region, and I understand you've gone on some adventure yourself.
In terms of the region, things are going pretty steady here. My own chapter, the Imperium, we just attended ValleyCon up in Fargo last month. It's our annual sort of our own home convention. We usually have a Region 6 conference there. We didn't this year just because of COVID, made it pretty difficult. But we had a table there. We did some recruiting. We got a couple new members. Right now we have a couple of members from the USS Dakota who are based. Normally they're based in Western North Dakota, but their CEO and their CEO is temporarily deployed, and he's a military contractor. He's over in England right now, and so right now he's at Destination Star Trek in London. So he's been showing some pictures. Jared Adams is showing some pictures right now from London. So that's really interesting going on right now. In terms of my own personal adventure, I just got back last week from Adult Space Academy, which is sort of the advanced version of Space Camp. I spent a week down in Huntsville, Alabama, doing some honest-to-God astronaut training. So that was really cool. It's exhausting and it's incredible, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that anyone has about that. So yeah, that's what's been going on with me.
Well, thank you. Well, what has been going on with you, Lucy?
Well, good afternoon to everyone. The USS Zavala, which was named the Starfleet Chapter of the Year for 2020, always stays very busy. We've had 3 big cons this year that returned after the absence last year because of COVID. Just last month, we had our Bajoran Gratitude Festival, which is a big and fun event that we do each year in the Zavala, and we do the renewal scroll ceremony in conjunction with that party. Great opportunity to get together and have fun and food and fellowship, and to celebrate DS9 in that particular case. And we're working on plans for our end of the year or winter holiday party, as well as starting to make our plans for 2021. 2022 rather. 2021 was, of course, busier than the previous year, and we look for 2022 to be even busier as more things come back that had been previously put on hiatus.
Well, it sounds like fantastic things are happening down Texas your way. How about you, Justin? What's going on in Region 4?
Well, on the Starfleet side of it, not much of anything. We're going through all sorts of stuff. Star Kraken is growing by leaps and bounds. Joined a cosplay group, and several members of that are joining my chapter. So pretty soon, by the end of the year, I should be close to 20 members for the Star Kraken before my 1-year anniversary. Next weekend, as part of my cosplay group, I'm going to be suiting up as a Ghostbuster and doing a movie premiere for Ghostbusters Afterlife down in Vacaville. So I am looking forward to that.
Wow. We're going to be looking forward to some of those pictures showing up on our Facebook pages.
I'm hoping I can get some of those done.
Oh, excellent. Mike, what's going on in Missouri?
Well, I don't know what's going on in Missouri, buddy. I'm over in Kansas now.
Okay, what's happening in...
I wish I was still in Missouri. No, it's Region 12 is still as good as it ever was. Still the best, as far as I'm concerned, best region in Starfleet.
I have to
I'm
agree
sure I'll
with
get
that.
some pushback on that, but it is what it is. But no, we're Darksabre got a little bit active, like Lucy said. Darksabre got active this year after things started opening back up. We had Planet Comic-Con back in August. It's a very well-attended con. We had about 70,000 people come through. We had a table. We set up a couple of fundraisers, one for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society that we lost a crew member to last year, and we raised about $280 on that one. And we had another one for breast cancer research, and we raised about $200 for that one. So we're pretty happy about that, considering everybody was just getting back out in the swing of things. That was a pretty good fundraiser. The clouds have been a killer in this part of the country, and the way the smoke has come off the wildfires, it just kind of trailed right down the Missouri River. So it's really obscured a lot of seeing for stellar cartography, but I've still got some great pictures I hope to share with you later. And I apologize, I'm going to have to step out in a few minutes, but I'm only going to be gone for part of this. I really want to be a part of it for the rest of the live cast. But we're looking forward to just getting more and more involved in Region 12 and Starfleet in general. Things have been really good from a compliance end. Everybody has really been just fantastic about the way they responded in the general membership to all of the cease and desist problems that we had 2 or 3 years ago. They're almost gone now. People have responded so well, and they've been real good about contacted Richard and contacted me and contacted Jim and just everybody else that needed to be contacted. Hey, is this compliant? Can we do this without getting Starfleet in trouble? So general members that are out there listening, I want to thank you guys for doing all that, because you're really saving Starfleet a lot of trouble.
Oh, yes. I remember all those troubles we've been going through all those years ago. And we've made some major changes, both on the Marine Corps side and within Starfleet itself. We got a question here from David Nottage. That looks like David.
It is.
Do we have an answer ready for him, Kimberly? Do we have the answer to that?
I'll take Fleet Admiral AMA for 400, Alex.
And the answer is, this project will be done soon.
And that is your answer, David. It's still in the, from what I understand, the database is that close to being ready. I think parts of it is already online. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. However, our long wait is almost over on this. And I haven't noticed that myself, but then again, I haven't looked at the unassigned list. That's something that you need to send to our chief of computer ops and see what we can do to that. But that is a good question. Here's a question for you, Mike. What was the twirl and hurl? I guess the question is, what was the twirl and hurl part of the adult space camp?
Well, I did answer that on in the chat online, but the multi-axis trainer is part of it. What Eric is referring to, it's a trainer that's based off the old Mercury trainer called the Mastiff, and it's 3 concentric circles that they spin on 3 different axes simultaneously, and the person sits in the center of it. And then you spin on all 3 axes simultaneously. Now, you would think that you'd get nauseous, but because your stomach is in the center of gravity, you don't. In fact, when I did it, I thought for sure that I was going to. In fact, about 10 years or so, my oldest kid had done a similar device up at Wisconsin Dells. And that one, actually, the ride attendant wasn't paying attention. and it ended up going too fast, and my kid passed out. So I thought, well, this thing might get a little wonky. It doesn't. You don't get nauseous. I did get a little lightheaded, and that was the common complaint about from all the trainees, is that you do get a little lightheaded. I found out a few days ago that one of the other trainees did go outside and did throw up.
Whoa.
But we did do it kind of after lunch, or was it after breakfast? I think it might have been right after lunch. So and they were a little keyed up, a little nervous going in. So, and I was too. The MAT was like one of the few things that I was a little and you can opt out of anything at the academy. You can opt out of any activity. We had one person who, honestly, we couldn't figure out why he was there, because he did virtually nothing the entire week. He would show up once in a while, he'd hobnob with us, and then he'd take off. He didn't do any of the trainings, he didn't do any of the missions, nothing. His call sign for the week was Ghost, because we didn't know when he was going to show up. He just popped in, popped out, and honestly, it's like we didn't know why he was there. But anyway, but the multi-axis trainer, in fact, I don't know if I can share it. I do have a picture of it up here. Let me see here. Yeah, let me see if I can share it. There. Let me see if will it share? I don't know if anyone can see it or not.
No.
It's trying. It's trying.
Share. You should be able to click your share screen, and you might be able to pull it up that way.
Yeah, it's trying. It's just taking a minute. Honest to goodness, it's trying. It's looking like it's not gonna. It looks like it might lock up, but it's trying. We'll see what happens.
Mike, do you have a
website
set up?
It's hold on. It's dogging out on me here,
Mike.
But the MAT, they only do it for about 45 seconds. The only what I would call scary part of it, other than flipping upside down quite a bit, is the seat is the seat that you actually sit in is kind of shallow, and so you tend to get flipped out or thrown out of it quite a bit, and you get thrown against your straps. So it feels like you're falling out of the chair. So they strap you in nice and snug, but there's that constant being pushed against your straps. So
was it better with your eyes open or closed for the MAT?
You have to keep your eyes open. They say if you keep your eyes closed, you will get really dizzy. So they tell you keep your head pointed straight forward and keep your eyes open.
Wow. I'm not saying wow to all these things, I know, but it is indeed awesome of what you went through and did. Something I would have loved to do, say about 10 years ago. But
we had somebody, he was on a different team, and actually I had one guy on my team who was in his 60s. I thought I was going to be the oldest person at 52. Most of the people on my team were in their late 40s, early 50s. I had one guy in his 60s. The youngest person on my team was late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But most of us were in our 40s and 50s. So the age really doesn't matter. And like I said, you can opt out of things.
Right.
I did a climbing wall. I didn't think I was going to do that, but I did it. My whole goal was I wasn't going to opt out of anything if I could possibly help it. And I broke my back a year and a half ago. So I thought there might be some things I was kind of about, but I told myself I was going to at least try to do everything. And so I did a climbing wall. I didn't get to the top, but I got about halfway. I did the neutral buoyancy tank. So I learned how to scuba dive for the first time. So I did that. I wasn't able to equalize my ears, but I got about halfway down the tank before I had to come back up. And then I stayed on the dive platform, which is about 5 feet deep. So I still dove, but I wasn't able to get down to the whole 30 feet deep. Right. But I got some really good footage of that, so I'm hoping to get that uploaded to YouTube here as soon as I can as soon as I can do some editing with it. But yeah, so don't feel that age is going to limit you. I mean, we had some people there who were, there was one person who was using a cane. They do have some mitigation for people who were disabled. There was one person who was they were using dual canes. One of the kids, because there was also a kids academy there going on at the same time. And there was one person with dual canes. They looked like they might have had spina bifida or MS or something. And so they made some arrangements for them as well. So, yeah. So don't feel that there's things, don't feel that you can't participate. There are some things that there is there are some restrictions, like so first, well, okay, my screen is locked up now. But there's some things that there are some weight restrictions for, like for the multi-axis trainer and some of the other stuff. There is like a 260-pound weight limit. I actually went and lost 30 pounds just to make sure I was well under all the weight limits. It was just sort of an extra incentive to lose some weight. There's but that's really the only restriction. There's 2 weight limits, and that's about it, really. I mean, the habitat where you stay, there's elevators, so there's access for differently abled people. The simulators, like the mission simulators, for the most part, you can get at, well, the shuttle simulator is a little dodgy. You would have trouble getting into like the flight deck if you couldn't walk properly, because you do have to go into the mid deck and then climb up a ladder up to the flight deck. And then if you were going to do like an EVA, you would have to climb through the airlock and up into the payload bay. So that one gets a little dodgy. However, they do have several simulators that are just the flight deck, and so they can make arrangements for that as well. So if you were on a team where they needed to make an arrangement, they could. Likewise with EVA, they can make arrangements for that as well.
Well, it's good to hear that all that. I mean, people more my age, I'm about 10 years older than you, can probably go and participate in some of the.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I would look forward to. Here's a question from Dave Nottage again. Where is the Starfleet budget? Well, that's not something I am privy to. I don't think Lucy is either. And
No, I have not heard a peep about it, and since we had that meeting back near the end of August, I have not heard or seen anything about it. But that doesn't mean a whole lot. Sometimes the vice region coordinators are not included in some communications, but I have not seen anything.
My understanding was that the budget was being reviewed by the Admiralty Board. That would be part of your duties, I guess, Mike, and that they were going to be doing something with it at your next AD meeting, which is toward the end of the year. Am I correct about that?
You are correct. However, I think what David's alluding to is that we have not seen a draft of it yet in order to get our eyes on it yet. David's the RC for Region 4. Right. So we've not yet seen it. So we're coming up on that AB meeting, and we've yet to get eyes on it to really look at it.
Yeah, I remember David said he was going to help structure it, but if he's put it in someone else's hands, they have not shared yet.
No, and that's directly on our Volta, who has been an excellent CS. I'm not faulting him for a lot of things, but then again, I thought that you guys were given the budget at the last AB meeting. Obviously, if you were given it, it was not the budget that they're going to be discussing at the AB. Now, we're not. This is not something that the general membership should be alarmed about.
No.
So anybody out there that isn't a member of the AB or even the EC, you're okay. Everything's going to be fine with it. But here's another question. Hey, Steve, where are you? I thought I saw you up there a few minutes ago, and so this is why we switched the name from Fleet Admirals AMA to Starfleet AMA in order to let a little flex on whether the CS needs to be here or not. He usually is here, and we I am wondering where he is as well. He was supposed to be here, and like I said, I'm not gonna fault him not being here. He has his own life. He's a volunteer like all of us. He's putting more time in this organization. Each Starfleet commander, no matter who it was or is, they put a ton more time into Starfleet than anybody realizes. And I've seen multiple CSs struggle, not so much struggle, but able to keep this organization going through what they've done. So we're going to try to get an answer to that. And if we don't, please forgive us. Here's another one from Eric to a now disappearing Mike. Was that the flight suit you wore at Adult Space Camp? We'll try to get an answer to that in a little bit. So we'll get back. Why is the name on Facebook page Commander Starfleet International 2020? Very good question.
I am.
I can
Okay,
answer
Mike.
that.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay, when he first started this, he made a Facebook page for it because the people were complaining that it was spamming the Starfleet members only group. So he made a Facebook, and it was in 2020. So we still use that as the base to launch it from, but it goes out now on other Facebook groups as well. It's
Yeah,
just
I
the
believe
name.
it goes out on the members group.
Right, it does now. And also, when I type it out, I put SFIs Ask Me Anything.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's
if you
not
notice-
just the fleet admirals anymore.
Yeah,
So
because we
that's
don't
all.
intend for it to go on past Steve's time.
Right.
And it's not just Steve answering the question, it's people like Mike,
And Lucy and
Mike again, and Justin, and other people. Rob, our former fleet admiral, who asked this question, I believe has been on.
And I'm going.
AMA. So looks like I'm having a little glitch happening.
Yeah. You're going on max headroom there, Jeff.
This is a new camera, by the way.
To answer Eric's question, this is not the flight suit I wore. This is a crew jacket that I picked up. So I did wear this over my flight suit a couple days because it was very cold in Alabama.
Yes,
it was in the 40s. I was expecting the 60s, and it barely got above the 40s in Alabama.
And if it is anything like northern Mississippi,
And that's North Alabama too.
Yes.
Anything like North Mississippi, it's going to be really cold, colder than it is. So
yeah, they actually
forgive me for the glitches happening.
They actually canceled one event. It was what was called the Pamper pole. That's where you climb up a telephone pole and then jump off the top, and then you're basically caught by your friends or by your teammates, who you're belayed to. They canceled that because of the weather, and they nearly scrubbed our rocket launch, our model rocket launch, because each team built a series of rockets, and so they nearly canceled that, but the weather cleared out just long enough for us to be able to launch our rockets.
Okay, Tim, I'm going to have to back out for a few minutes. I'll be back in. I just want to make sure this is just a glitch on my end and not something from you.
Looks like your video card is frying out there, Jeff.
Yeah, is it the same? You're getting glitchy?
Yeah.
I mean, all over the place?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to back out. I'm going to leave this in the capable hands of Kim Donahue. And then I will be right back.
A lady said my name correctly at the doctor's office the other day. I nearly hugged her.
Hey, you think you got it bad?
Oh, please. I miss being a Brooks so bad. I mean, I automatically say Dinonohoe. There was a sale on O's that day, you know. Lucy, did you see that message?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I have the same problem with Frank, because if you just hear Frank, it's Frank, and I have to
Right.
correct everybody and go, no, there's a C in front of the K, Franck.
Yeah.
So it's one of those strange spellings that you have that as well. That kind of the oddball out.
For me, most Americans, they see A-N-D and they think and. We are a very nasal people, so it's all and. It's and, like magic wand.
So it's
Urvand. Urvand.
You know, I said it correctly from the beginning. To me,
You
it looks
did.
like Urvand.
You did. That's why I've always liked you, Kim.
Well, you know.
My last name is a very unique one as well. I get so many butcherings. I remember one time when I was in 7th grade, we had a teacher strike in my school district union, and the substitute teacher took the entire class period to teach my entire shop class how to say my last name the correct way. So from that day forward, the entire year, I was known in that shop class by my last name.
It's German, isn't it? Fietzek?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a hard one for me.
But I
make myself say it.
When I graduated high school, we had to do the phonetic pronunciation for the person who was announcing as we were crossing the stage. So I said, Fietzek, you're to fit because you're sick. And I've used that for the past quarter century to help people say my name correctly.
Mm-hmm. Whatever works.
Yeah.
Tom got called donut hole in school, so I use that. I say.
I'm sure he appreciates you telling that story now.
Oh yeah, he loves it. No, that's why when we got married, I wanted to keep my name. He goes, "Why, for your Starfleet career?" And I said, "No, because I don't want to have to spell it to everybody." And he made me toss a coin. I lost. So.
Mike, did you actually have to suit up in a full spacesuit for some of the exercises?
Yes and no. The spacesuits that they had, they didn't have the full suits big enough for adults of my size.
Mm-hmm.
So for my EVA, going back, I was in 3 missions. First mission, I was mission specialist for a shuttle mission, and I did an EVA. For that, they put me in basically a white painter suit, then a full EVA helmet, and then they put me in a hang gliding harness, and I basically traversed the payload bay, suspended by basically a hoist.
Did you walk in slow motion?
Yes.
Okay.
I hung and I basically traversed slow motion across from around the payload bay to help repair a satellite. While my teammate, who wasn't a full spacesuit because she was smaller than I was, she had the full bulky suit on. She was on the end of the Canadarm, working on the satellite as well. And then the third mission, I was commander of a Mars mission, and that one I also wore the painter's suit, but only because the bulkier suits were at the cleaners. They did find one that would have fit me, but those were at the cleaners. They had one that it was the top for one of the bulky suits. However, I gave it to one of my teammates because I thought he was going to be doing more EVAs than I was going to be. Turns out that was not correct. I ended up doing more EVAs than he did. The mission got a little wild. We'll just say that. And I ended up on the surface more than he did. But I ended up in the white painter's jumpsuit for that mission as well. But the helmet is basically attached to almost like a pair of football pads that they connect, and then either the suit or the painter suit goes over the top of it and then zips up. But if you're small enough, they do have a full suit, a full EVA suit that they'll put on you.
Being a Star Trek fan and putting on the bubble helmet, what was your feeling?
when I saw myself, because you don't really think of it until you catch a glimpse of yourself. When you put it on, you're thinking, okay, this is pretty cool. But when you see yourself and you see that iconic image of the white helmet, just like a shuttle helmet, the shuttle EVA helmet or the Apollo EVA helmet, and you see that and you just like, ooh. And there was a moment during the Mars mission where I get caught in a sandstorm, and I'm thinking to myself, this is just like SETI Alpha 5. Because the sand's blowing and I'm getting knocked around, and finally I get knocked over and a piece of a solar array hits me, and I'm like, this is SETI Alpha 5. And I'm sitting there in my spacesuit and the whole work. And yes, Eric, I did wear a Snoopy hat. They do put a Snoopy hat on you. So
and you talked about that, and I immediately thought of the book by Andy Weir and the movie with Mark Wahlberg.
Yes, I got Watneyed.
I got Watneyed.
That's
a great movie. I love that movie.
I watched The Martian on the way back from Alabama, and
Wow.
I watched the movie Marooned on the way to Alabama.
Two classics now. I mean, I watched that movie Maroon when I was a kid. It was very well done. And then The Martian, about a year ago is when I first saw it. And man, that was an awesome movie.
Yeah.
And the book is so much more into detail than they were able to show in the movie.
Yeah. And I mean, for our Mars mission, we actually we had a base that was already pre-landed, just like you had the Ares 3 base. We had the Mars Elysium base, so we had the MEB. And it was pre-landed, so when we landed our Altair lander on Mars, our base was waiting for us. So we just had to go there. And no, I did not get stabbed with an antenna, Eric, but I did have a solar array land on me, and I had to get unburied from the sand and the solar array. No, but when we got there, we had to my digital data technician and my plant and regolith officer, my botanist, they had to set up the communications array while my pilot and I had to transfer our excess nitrogen and oxygen from our lander to the base, so we'd have breathable atmosphere on base. So we were doing that, and we had all sorts of anomalies happen because the trainers are sadists, and they will throw anomaly after anomaly at you. Both my team on the surface, and then there's another team of astronauts in a base around Phobos, a space station called Urano Space. And so there were medical anomalies on the base, and there was also medical anomalies on at Mission Control, and that's how I got my call sign, my official Space Camp call sign. Our Capcom, who was my EVA partner on our first mission, she started acting all sorts of strange right before our Altair landed. And I looked at my pilot, and he looked at me and was like, "Okay, we have an anomaly coming up." But we had to get on with the mission, so we landed, and I did my Neil Armstrong speech as I set foot on the surface. And we had a little photo op because they actually had the official photographer take pictures of me setting foot on Mars, the whole works. And then we start setting up the base and whatnot. And she starts acting loopier and loopier, and we're trying to work through it. And then she has a breakdown. And she goes away for a while, and we ask, we're like, we need inputs, we're working through our checklist, and then she finally breaks through, and she's like, "I'm pregnant, and it's the commander's baby." And I'm sitting there, I'm the commander, mind you. I've been in transit from Earth to Mars for the last 9 months, and I'm like, and I've got deer in the headlights. Look, now there's cameras all over the base, all over the spacecraft. They can see everything. So the mission control people are watching my reaction, and I've got the deer in the headlights look. I'm just like, and the trainers in the back are laughing their butts off. They've never seen anything like this before. They're like, this is going into our Anomaly Hall of Fame book. They actually have one. And so I'm now in the Hall of Fame. as a poor innocent part of this.
Here.
I'm the deer in the headlight part of this, but I'm like, I don't even have words for this. I said, this is gonna be news to my wife and kids. And a few minutes later, she's like, if it's a false alarm, I feel better now. Well, the next day after the mission was over, and I was getting ready to do my bouncy 1/6 gravity chair run, which is to simulate lunar gravity. My team trainer came up to me. She's like, that was really fun last night, especially the part where you get, Michelle sprung that on you. And I'm like, yeah, that was hilarious. It was really cool. It was a good time. She's like, so the trainers, we got together and we decided to give you your call sign. Now, that was one of my big goals for this, is to get a call sign, because most people don't get a call sign the first time they go to camp. It's sort of a rare thing that you get a call sign. So I was really kind of hoping I was going to get one. And they're like, so we just want to know if it's okay if we give you a call sign. I'm like, that'd be great. I've always wanted a call sign. And they're like, oh, that's great.
Fruit Loop.
Nope. It's like, would you mind if we call you Commander Baby Daddy? And I'm like, well, I got 4 kids at home, and apparently I got one coming from transiting Mars. So yeah, that'll be great. So now I'm officially Baby Daddy.
Nice.
So yeah.
We are required to show a commercial, so you all take a little break while we see this for the upcoming IC. Fingers crossed that we still get to have it.
We hope to see you there at IC, everyone. It's going to be a great time. And if not, we'll see you here.
Well, I'm planning on being there.
Yeah,
I'll be there. I'm still registered, I guess. I registered 2 years ago, and I didn't ask for a refund, so I guess I'm still registered.
If things keep going the way I'm hoping they're going, I'm going to be doing a virtual visit.
And I hope that we will have what we been several years since we did not have some sort of video link for the IC. I think may have not had one for, I'm thinking, one of the more recent ones as well. I know we had it for 14. Tried our best to have one. But yeah. I do not remember what the others had.
I don't know that we had one for Minneapolis. I don't think we did. Because I don't remember us setting anything up for it.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember either.
Yeah,
I was in Minneapolis, and I don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't think we had a video set up for Minneapolis.
No, not that I recall.
No.
But I think it should be a requirement to have some sort of video upload either during the event or have someone tape it and then put it on what we're on part of our YouTube. I think it's going to be it's good in several ways to have a video uplink of the live events that we do during IC. First of all, it gets more participation out of the members. People feel they're a part of it now. Mm-hmm. Mind you, we are now more internet savvy than we were, say, 40 years ago, when the internet was just a dream. Just starting. Also, another thing good about it is it's a good recruiting tool.
Mm-hmm.
You get people non-Starfleet seeing what we do. And that kind of thing is a good draw for that kind of thing. And of course, our having something during the Saturday night dinner and our auction and stuff also brings them closer that way too.
I believe some ICs have broadcast the opening ceremony and
Mm-hmm.
closing ceremony.
Yeah. We did here.
I don't
in
remember what platform they were using because I was in the room, so I wasn't trying to watch it remotely. So I don't know what platform they were using.
Yeah, the platform was arranged by the then Commander Starfleet. In our case, it was Wayne Kellogg. Or, I keep on messing up that last name, and I ask forgiveness to Kellogg. So Wayne set that up. He was very good at those things, as well as ours. Ours will be through the normal stuff that we do here that you see. It'll be YouTube, of course, our Starfleet members page, and other platforms that we have access to. I'm sure because we have a fantastic communication, audio and video department.
Right. Well, in some previous hotels, they may not have had a very good internet connection for broadcasting.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, in the last few years, hotels have all upgraded, to their Wi-Fi systems because that's just something people expect now.
That's
Whereas
true.
in years past, it was maybe they had it, maybe they didn't.
Right.
But now, any of your hotels are going to have a better Wi-Fi system than they had previously because that's what expectations are now for everyone with their smartphones and laptops and everything. So it's all wireless now instead of having to find the plug-in the room. I've gone through that too. Where's the plug?
Right.
So it should be a lot easier to do that now than it used to be.
You mentioned that most of these hotels, they weren't built with internet in mind. They weren't built to do it. So it's something they've had to shove into their walls, shove into their floors, and make it work. Whereas the newer hotels like Rockford has a new hotel. It used to be believe it or not, it used to be a manufacturing facility. That place was so oily you could smell it going by it. But today it is a 5-star hotel. And I've thought about bringing IC back here to Rockford just to have that, but I'm waiting again. If 2014, people went to 2014, remember, the clock tower inn where we had it, it was torn down about 2 or 3 years ago, and not too long after our IC. And now they're going to build a world-class casino there, the Hard Rock Casino and a hotel. So maybe we can do one there too. So,
Jerry, did you get my email I sent to you earlier?
that's right. That kind of thing did happen. I remember, especially during the IC in Oklahoma, this last one back then. They descended with new equipment, which I don't know if we took back. My impression was we gave it to them, but we were the ones that supplied it, so the Wi-Fi could be boosted. They didn't have a good Wi-Fi back then. I remember that happening. So, things are different now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that should be a requirement is to having Wi-Fi and a way to broadcast over the internet. We were lucky to be able to hard attach our cameras and computers in that room that we were in. So it's not impossible. I can tell you, we had a lot of fun with having a camera going around.
I do remember in 19, I think Mike Garcia was broadcasting via Facebook from, I think it was the IC that he was broadcasting some of the general sections from.
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be. I remember my first IC was
Kansas City.
Right.
I actually had people come up to the camera, and I'm at home, mind you, and they said, "Hello, Jeff. I know you're out there watching this," and that was hilarious. That was fun. And every once in a while, I think we need to do something like that. Call out somebody who's not there that you know is watching. That's the great part of IC. coming up after everything's done. One of the EC meeting members of the time did that to me, called me out. And I mean, me and my family were rolling on the floor because of that. But let's look at the comments and questions that you still have. We got a little bit more time that we can do things. Our European hotels are good with, they are good with internet? I don't know. I mean, it's been 50 years since I've been in a European hotel. I was about 11 years old, so I wouldn't know since the internet wasn't around. But I bet you a lot of them that have been built since the beginning of this millennium are. I bet you anything. And even those that are still out there that cater to people that have laptops, that have computers that they walk around, our tablets and our phones, they're going to have some sort of Wi-Fi out there.
Jeff, did you just pull a back in my day?
Yeah, I just pulled it back in my day, before your day, actually. I said about 50 years ago. You were about 2 or 3 years old.
I was 2.
In Germany.
I was 2.
19. Matter of fact, here's a strange thing. I like to tell this story. I was 11 years old in 1969, and my parents, we'd already been in Germany for 3 years, and he was scheduled to return to the United States, be transferred back, and we had actually sent all our things, so we rented a TV to watch the moon landing. Yes, I was in Germany when the Apollo 11 happened. In fact, I was at Bitburg Air Force Base. Now, if you know anything about the Apollo 11 astronauts, you know Buzz Aldrin was stationed at Bitburg in the 1950s. So here I am, base housing Bitburg, watching the moon landing. Buzz Aldrin, second man on the moon, was stationed at Bitburg for a while. I didn't realize that for many, many years, but I thought that was neat. Now, I was at a place that one of those moon walkers that were up there had been at. I thought that was neat back then. I'm 11 years old thinking, wow. So, but now I'm much older than that, and I still think, wow, like what you did, Mike, going to that space camp, that is awesome. And we try to do things like that to bring us closer to, watching William Shatner go up in that thing for like 11 minutes was an awesome thing, both for him. I know it was for him, the way he came out of that capsule, and for Starfleet, because we were contacted, and a couple of our leaders, not me, but were interviewed. One by the BBC, and the other one was by this new channel called Fox Weather. I don't know how they were going to fit this into their weather news cycle, but Dennis Rayburn was the interviewee for that one. And I recommended Dennis only because he's had experience in this kind of thing. He has been interviewed before, so he could handle it, and he did fantastic from what I understand. There are other things that we can do to get closer to we don't need to go into space. Technically, we're in space. We're on a ball in space, right? Mm-hmm. We're on the Earth. But going into space, a lot of us, very minute of us, is going to go get that chance to go. How long does how long does I have for taking the data test? Oh, you're talking about the Starfleet
data protection test.
Data protection test. You need, if you're able to access sensitive data on persons within the fleet, this is a must. If you don't even see the database outside your own stuff on it, you don't need to worry about it. You need to take it ASAP. Once you're a member of the command staff, say you become the executive officer or commanding officer, anybody
Excellent
with
hire.
data, yeah, OICs, RCs, has to get done, and they will give you time to do it. But you take 101 and 102. Now, there is a 201, but that's credit for taking a test.
It's a refresher.
That's not the refresher. That's taking the test. Say you take a test through.
Oh, that's correct. Yeah.
Through your job.
Through work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Through work.
You can get credit for that, although it doesn't count. A year later, you take 2021. That's what they call this test right now.
Yeah.
You'll have only a few months, maybe a month after your first anniversary to take that test.
I think it's 30 days.
Yeah.
30 days either side of your anniversary date of when you took the first one.
When I found out about it, I jumped on it. I took
Yes,
it.
all the CEOs need to take it, and XOs.
Yeah, I would recommend, if you think you want to become a commanding officer in the future, take the test. Do it. If you want to become someone that will, you want to see who isn't attached to anybody, because technically that's sensitive material as well. Take the test. It's a requirement. I'm going to have to retake a test in a year.
Yeah, I've got my first anniversary. I think I think I have to take my 2021 now.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I did mine. My anniversary was near the end of October, and I did mine just a few days after that. So got it taken care of. But staff members have to do it as well. Regional, Starfleet, staff members, because many times even regional staff members have access to information on a regional level. And so it's very important. And as I understand it, Marine OICs, Mako OICs, anyone in charge of something that may have more access in the database are required to take that course as well.
I did my 2021 the end of July of this year.
Now, let's remind people what will happen if you don't take the test in a timely manner. You will be relieved. If you're a commanding officer, you will be relieved of your position. And your XO can be relieved. If you don't have a commanding officer, executive officer, your ship's going to get decommissioned. We don't want that. We really don't want that. The Starfleet Academy instructors, command staff, EC, and the EB both don't want you to miss out on what you like. I like what I do here, and I feel that this test is a very minor portion of my participation in Starfleet. It's the least I can do to know about these things, because it's changing every day. There's been talk here in Illinois about putting in one. So when that comes up, there's another thing we're going to have to look at when we test. I know California's got one, Colorado's got one. There's a few other states out there that have implemented these requirements for personal information on the internet. That's all it is. So I urge you, not because we're not trying to tell you, hey, you have to do it. We're telling COs they have to do it. We're telling anybody has access to the database, they have to do it. However, if you don't have access, don't worry. Don't worry. If you take it, you got another thing in your favor. That's going to look good. So,
I know for new chapters, it's becoming a requirement for COs and XOs to when you start a new chapter.
That's right.
Looks like we have an interesting question for Mike Calhoun.
Yeah,
we're running out of time, I think.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mike.
It is a 10-inch Dobsonian. That is one I was telling everybody earlier. I ordered it, and they didn't send me a mount. And when I called them on it, they refunded my money and told me to keep the tubes. So now I have a beautiful 10-inch Dobsonian, and I'm having a guy in California build me a custom mount for it. So that is what I'm going to use for. I'm now a merit badge counselor in scouting. So And one of the merit badges I'm doing is astronomy. So that is going to be my observational telescope that I use. The other one over there over my other shoulder, that's the one I use to do photography. And take some of the pictures that I put on both the stellar cartography pages in particular, but I've also shared a few on the main Starfleet page. So yes, Jeff, I am having a mount built for it. We will be using it soon. No, it is not a water heater. I tried to pass it off to my wife as a water heater.
Not a water heater.
She didn't buy it.
It's a portable shower.
Yeah, my wife wouldn't buy it.
I thought it was a centrifuge.
The minute she saw a mirror in it, she knew what it was. I taught her too much about astronomy. So
I don't know. It could still be a shower. It's just a really weird.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
But it is
And
a
Donnie,
little
as far
light bucket. We should be able to get some really, really neat observation. And I'm understanding a lot of people can take pictures with the Dobsonian as well. You can't take long exposure photography because of the 500 rule. But you can take quick pictures of the Orion Nebula, the brighter object in the sky, planets in particular. You can take short exposures and stack them. So I've got some really neat pictures. I was hoping to share, but I was gone too long. I apologize, guys. That sighting takes a long time to explain, and it's very expensive.
Well,
with it being a 10-inch, what is the furthest distance you can see with that?
It's not really so much about the distance you can see. It's about how much light you can gather. All telescopes are pretty much, it's the known, whatever's in the known galaxy that just has enough light to get to you. What I love about the 10-inch is its light gathering capability. The difference in the focal length between that one and the refractor that's sitting over my shoulder is just tremendous. So the amount of light gathering capability the 10-inch is actually more, but it gets to my eye faster through the refractor because of the number of lenses.
So with that, you would be able to see Alpha Centauri.
Yeah, you should be able to. Naked eye, it's going to be tough, but if you can freeze it with a camera, yeah, you should be able to see it. I have pictures of the Andromeda Galaxy. They're really good. That I took and processed. I've got the Orion Nebula is my favorite target. I've taken a couple of that recently that are really good. The Pleiades, several hundred light years away, or several million light years away. I took a picture of that last week and stacked them. It came out beautifully. But if you can get it over the horizon, and you can get it up at the zenith in particular, the more up at the zenith you are, the better you're going to see it. And you can get away from city lights. You can see a lot of stuff out there with a light bucket like that.
Wow.
I'm excited to use it. The biggest I've ever had is on a reflector like that is a 6-inch. So I can't wait to use it.
We got one more question we want to do real quick. This one. What's your thoughts about Prodigy? Anybody?
I watched the first episode and I thought it was very interesting. The animation was very well done, I thought.
Oh,
Of course, Janeway is my favorite captain, so it was fun to see her character animated and to hear her voice. So I think it's got promise. I've only seen the first episode. I haven't seen the second one yet, but I thought it was very interesting, even as an adult watching, a kids show. But very colorful, very good animation.
Right.
I think
Anybody
they
else?
are approaching it very well done for being Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. They're bringing it down to, I would say, a middle schooler, 6th, 5th graders mentality. Really well done. They are. I follow Kate Moker on Instagram. They are doing little segments about why they are doing this particular episode. So they're doing a little bit of an educational aspect to it. And overall, I think the writing is well done. I'm waiting to see how they develop the characters a little bit more, especially with the Captain Dell. There's some intrigue that they're showing in the writing that I'm waiting for them to delve out.
Yeah, and next week, Mike, before I say that, let's get the other guy's opinion. Mike, you got an opinion on this?
You know what? I'm a Star Wars fan too, and I didn't watch the animated Star Wars shows until just in the last few years. It reminds me in a lot of ways of Rebels. It kind of goes in that same direction to me. The animation is it's a lot more similar to Rebels. And I'm not. I think I was telling Pip, it's childlike. It's not childish. Childish implies a negative. There's a negative connotation to that. I think Justin hit it right on the head. It's toward that younger demographic. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that, because if Star Trek's going to live, we're going to have to expose it to younger people. It can't be just a bunch of 50 and 60 somethings sitting around talking about Star Trek and how great it was back in the day, Jeff. Back in the day. So
Oh yeah, I know. Back in the day,
we have to evolve. We have to evolve our franchise for a younger generation. We cannot keep it back in the
that's
days.
kind of where I am. It's not my thing, but it's not bad, and I think it's well done for what it's aimed at.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I agree with Mike.
Yeah. How about you, Mike Urvand, our admiral and space camp cadet?
I saw the first episode. I was intrigued by it. I will agree with what Mike said, that it had very much a Rebels feel to it, sort of that ragtag group feel to it. I'll be intrigued to see how they get more into when they get more into the whole Federation and Starfleet of it, because right now it's very much an outsider feel. They've already teased. I mean, it's not really a spoiler because they've already announced that Robert Beltran's coming back as Captain Chakotay. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, so there's going to be contact with Starfleet in some way, shape, or form.
Right. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of Prodigy.
Right.
It has been renewed. So
yeah, they've already renewed it for a second season. So I'll be interested to see how it progresses and how they integrate what we know of Starfleet and know of the Federation into it. But it's had an intriguing start to it.
And let's not forget that Discovery starts their 4th season next week.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the 32nd century looks like.
First time in almost 20 years we have 2 Star Trek shows on at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
3 actually, with Lower Decks.
Yeah, Lower Decks will be coming sometime in the middle of next.
And then Picard later.
Yep.
I mean, this is the best time, I think, to ever be a Star Trek fan or a Trekkie. This is the best time where there's so much Trek out there. We could not ask for more. There's so much going on. And I say that to people at our conventions that we had when they'd come by our booth and say, look, this is the best time ever to be a member of Starfleet.
And it's
because there's so much Trek going on to talk about.
And it's just not Trek either. Here, look at Disney doing Star Wars stuff. I mean, soon we're going to have Kenobi on. They've had Rebels.
Next month we get the Book of Boba.
Yeah, Boba Fett.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Show. Several others have had their own show. They're thinking about bringing Darth Vader in his own limited run show.
Hayden Christensen has said he is coming back in Kenobi and likely Ahsoka.
Oh, wow.
Well, they've already announced he's coming back for Ahsoka. It's official.
I
didn't know about the Ahsoka, but I knew about him coming back as Vader for Kenobi.
Yep.
And Ray Parks is coming back for Kenobi.
Is he really?
Well, people, I'm sorry to say that our time has whizzed by. I want to extend my appreciations to our 4 guests here. Lucy, Ferron, Franck from Region 3. Justin. And Justin, I always mess up your last name, you say. So what is your last name?
The correct German pronunciation is Fietzek, but the American pronunciation is Fietzek. You're in a fit because you're sick.
Okay, well, I like Fietzek, to tell you the truth, Justin. So we'll use that. Justin Fietzek from Region 4. From Region 12, my region, Mike Calhoun, and my good friend Mike Urvand, Space Cadet Galore, here with us. My name's Jeff Higdon. I'm the Communications Chief for Starfleet, and I want to thank you to being part of Ask Me Anything. Next month, we have another one coming up. It will be our Christmas edition, so be here. Thank you again to Kim Donahue, our producer, and our Commander Starfleet, wherever you are. Until the next time, Live long and prosper.
Peace and long life.